read a second time, and I call the member for Corangamite.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's my great pleasure to rise and speak on the appropriation bills before the Parliament. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am delighted to say and reaffirm our government's commitment to a budget which is responsible, measured and fair. It's a budget for small business, for families, for jobs growth and for opportunity. It's responsible because we remain committed to stabilising the nation's finances and reducing Labor's debt, key to building a stronger economy for Australians. It's measured because we understand the importance of balancing the fiscal challenge with the need to drive confidence and jobs investment. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, it is fair because it delivers for those who most need our help: pensioners, low and middle income families, young people, job seekers, the vulnerable and the disadvantaged. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, before I speak about the wonderful benefits that the budget delivers to my electorate of Corangamite, I want to remind everyone, those watching and those reading this speech in Hansard, that we must never forget Labor's legacy: $123 billion of cumulative deficits, $667 billion of net debt, the world's biggest carbon tax, which destroyed jobs, destroyed incentive, damaged small business, and of course 6 years of chaos and dysfunction. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm reminded of that chaos and dysfunction just today in a report in the Australian newspaper under the heading "Rudd was a bully. Gillard betrayed me. Old wounds reopened." And it's a report about a documentary made by the ABC, The Killing Season, which is going to be aired next week. And it talks about Ms Gillard alleging that Mr Rudd was physically intimidating towards her, describing a bullying encounter in which he acted in a menacing and angry way after a dispute about parliamentary tactics. In 2007, it opens, of course, deep divisions of the chaos and the dysfunction that absolutely crippled the government for 6 years and really set this nation backwards. Mr Rudd rejects this accusation. He says it's false. He accuses Ms Gillard of treachery and betrayal, falsifying events to justify her ambitions and colluding with former Minister Mark Bibb to bring him down. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, for Australians who want to be reminded why we must never elect Labor at the next federal election, I think it's compulsory viewing of The Killing Season on the ABC next week. Madam Deputy Speaker, there is wonderful news in this year's budget for the electorate of Corangamite, and I want to start by speaking about the National Stronger Regions Fund grant to the Norlane Community Hub, which delivers a community space, it delivers affordable housing, aged care. It's a wonderful $40 million project, a $7.25 million grant by the federal government. And of course the National Stronger Regions Fund, and I reflect, Madam Deputy Speaker, on your comments, it's very disappointing that the Labor Party is opposing this $1 billion being invested into regional Australia over 5 years. It's a wonderful fund driving incredible investment into regional Australia, and I would encourage all eligible organisations, including local councils, to look at the criteria and to make an application for this round, which is currently open. Madam Deputy Speaker, there's $1.3 million for our local jobs fund, Geelong Employment Connections, and I've been really very proud to deliver this very specific fund, which is geared to retrenched workers, particularly in the manufacturing sector. It adds to another $500,000 that we've already delivered, a $1.8 million fund for the Geelong region, and very proudly an example of how we are working at a grassroots level on the ground to help those who have lost their jobs move into new work. So very, very proud of that. Of course, there is our Stronger Communities program, a new program which will deliver $300,000 over 2 years for every federal electorate, including Corangamite, to fund important local projects which deliver social benefits. And that's another great program, and I say to all organisations, not-for-profit organisations across Corangamite, when the criteria is announced, please have a look at that program. It is a wonderful way for the federal government to support your organisation, and to support the wonderful work that you do. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have to say with enormous pride, I was so proud to turn the sod on our $371 million duplication of the Princes Highway between Winchelsea and Colac just a number of weeks ago. This is an incredible project, one that I've fought so hard for so many years, since 2009, and what a joy it is to see this being delivered. An incredible commitment for the people of Corangamite and southwest Victoria. A duplicated road which will drive jobs investment, which will make the road much more safe, which will help families and will really open up so many opportunities for places like Birregurra, Winchelsea, Colac and beyond. So I have to say I'm very, very proud. Of course, along with our $50 million upgrade of the Great Ocean Road, $25 million from the federal government, of course, a project that I fought so hard for. This is an iconic road, Madam Deputy Speaker, and very unfortunately, this is funding that the Labor Party opposed, which is extraordinary. This is one of Australia's most iconic road, a road built by the returned servicemen between 1919 and 1932, and it is extraordinary that the Labor Party continued to oppose the upgrade of this road. And now we read that the Victorian government, state Labor, want to put a Great Ocean road tax on this road by imposing a $10 fee on anyone who visits the 12 Apostles. It's an absolute and utter disgrace. I will fight that tooth and nail, and it just goes to show how little Labor appreciates and understands the importance of regional roads, particularly a road as important as the Great Ocean Road. So a very, very important project and one that I'm very, very proud of. Speaking of roads, Madam Deputy Speaker, of course, we have our $3 billion commitment to the East-West Link, which remains on the table, and it really is beyond words. I cannot find the words to describe the utter recklessness of state Labor with, of course, the opposition leader, Bill Shorten, the member for Corio, sitting by and standing by and doing absolutely nothing when Labor tore up that contract, costing at least $640 million and 7,000 jobs. Madam Speaker, we need a proper Western link from Geelong into Melbourne. I am fighting tooth and nail for that link. The Western distributor, we are looking at it, we are considering it, but it falls well short of the benefits that were going to be delivered for the people of Geelong with the western section of East-West Link. But what a grotesque waste of money. What a grotesque act in destroying those jobs. And of course, in Victoria, we are now left with very little infrastructure happening at the moment compared to states like New South Wales. And it's a very, very poor reflection on Labor. In our budget, of course, we're also seeing the rollout of $3.5 million for Ocean Grove Shell Road Reserve, $2.5 million for Colac Central Reserve. I was there on the weekend, Madam Deputy Speaker, at the Colac Tigers, another great win for the Colac Tigers. And boy, oh boy, there is great excitement for our very substantial commitment to upgrade Central Reserve, to build a new community pavilion and grandstand. And again, we see Labor completely deserting that project. From the Labor candidate for Corangamite, who previously ran in the state seat of Polwarth, not a dollar commitment. She deserted the people of Colac in fighting for an extra train service. She deserted the people of Anglesey in not committing to funding for the Anglesey Bowling Club. And she has deserted the people of Colac and the young people of Colac in not fighting for and delivering a dollar to assist with the upgrade and redevelopment of Colac Central Reserve. Of course, Torquay's Banyul Worry Fields, there's a wonderful $500,000 commitment, over $4 million for the Golden Plains Food Production and Employment Precinct, a wonderful reflection on our commitment to agriculture and the benefits that do flow to our region, $10 million for the new Geelong Library and Heritage Project, $3 million for the Geelong Centre for Emerging Infectious Diseases. And one of the other fantastic projects, Madam Deputy Speaker, of which I'm so proud, is the new Australian Bureau of Statistics Centre of Excellence, which will be established in Geelong in early 2016, bringing with it 250 jobs. So here we have another Commonwealth agency moving to our region after a very hard-fought battle bringing those jobs, and here is a government that I'm very proudly a part of, delivering those jobs to our region. Of course, the National Disability Insurance Scheme is being rolled out across Geelong, across Corangamite, across Colac, with, of course, offices in both Geelong and Colac for the Barwon trial, with the NDIA national headquarters in Geelong, and that is incredibly exciting. The NBN being delivered to some 40,000 premises across Corangamite, areas of Corangamite that were completely ignored by Labor, but areas that we are strongly committed to. And the small towns that matter, Alvey, Coragulac, Cororook, Barongarook, Forest, they go on and on. Warncourt, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is a government which cares about small regional communities, and that's why we are rolling out to the NBN to those communities which need it the most. And of course, my battle and my fight to make sure that the NBN is expedited into Geelong does continue, because we know how important fast broadband is to ensuring that we can become an innovation hub of Australia. And of course, Geelong has that enormous potential. Madam Deputy Speaker, there is no doubt that one of the absolute highlights of our budget is our growing jobs and small business package. And boy, oh boy, there is great excitement on the ground. We have held small business forums with the Small Business Minister, Bruce Bilson, in both Geelong and Colac. And for the first time, Madam Deputy Speaker, small business has been heard, and that's what they're saying. A 1.5% cut in the company tax rate to 28.5%, the lowest in almost 50 years. Unincorporated small businesses will get a 5% tax discount up to $1,000 a year. And of course, it's the unincorporated small businesses which makes up 2/3 of all small businesses, which were completely forgotten by Opposition Leader Bill Shorten in his budget reply speech. He just left them out altogether, as if they don't even exist, which just goes to show again that Labor does not get it. They do not understand small business, and we are the proud champions of small business. Of course, another incredibly popular measure. Small businesses can claim an immediate tax deduction for each and every asset purchased up to $20,000 from budget night until the 30th of June 2017. This is an extraordinary opportunity. It is already seeing great consumer confidence ripple throughout the community and delivering immediate benefits, not just to small businesses which are eligible, which have a turnover of $2 million or less, but of course the bigger companies which act as an important supply chain to small business. I was very proud to speak on our employee share schemes bill, and that is another wonderful measure for our support for small business and particularly start-up companies as well. Madam Deputy Speaker, very importantly, we are very much focused on getting people back into work. We have had a terrible failure of Labor, particularly with youth unemployment, and we are focused very much on driving those incentives, those opportunities, particularly for young people. Through our $1.2 billion national wage subsidy pool, there will be $6,500 for employers who hire job seekers under 30. A very important $331 million youth employment strategy, which includes a $212 million transition to work program to help young disengaged people aged between 15 and 21 become job ready. Of course, our national work experience program for young job seekers, a new $10 weekly New Start bonus for those who do some volunteer work. And we're also reversing the 6-month wait for New Start, bringing it down to some 5 weeks, which just reflects the fact that, yes, we have listened. And I'm very proud to have made representations to the Social Services Minister, and I'm incredibly impressed with the package that he has helped to deliver, so to ensure that we can drive these incredibly important opportunities for young people. Of course, we have just seen a charade in the main chamber, Madam Deputy Speaker, where the Labor Party is trying to shut down debate on our small business measures. Very, very unfortunate. Maybe they're trying to hide the fact that some 519,000 people lost their jobs in small business over 6 years under Labor. Madam Deputy Speaker, small business is the engine room of our economy. It employs 4.5 million people a year. 4.5 million people, I should say, Madam Deputy Speaker. 2 million proud small businesses, and our government is incredibly proud of the support that we are giving small business families, and of course, important farming enterprises. This is a great budget for jobs, for opportunity, for small business and for families, and I commend the bills to the House.